Okay.
So let's talk briefly about homework. You had an assignment that I sent to you when I was absent. And I asked you to do what we had done the week prior, which was, okay, this was a long time ago now, I know, but I asked you guys to complete an assignment that took a controlling idea and took a subject and made controlling ideas an attitude for it, okay? That's what I asked you to do. I asked you to finish the topic sentence. I sent that to you in an email that Monterey Peninsula College has on file for you, okay? How many of you got that email? Raise your hand. Okay, good. So all of you should have gotten the attachment.
I didn't get it. I didn't get a note.
If you,
but didn't read the whole.
aha, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to resend that email to everybody, okay? And I'm also going to print a hard copy and bring it in on Wednesday and give it to you to work on over the weekend. So we're going to extend the date of that homework, okay? That's going to be your weekend homework this weekend. So if you don't have it done, you didn't print it, you didn't hand it in, don't worry about it. In fact, I'm going to just bring a hard copy and it'll be a lot easier. I'll just bring it into you, I'll give it to you, and you can just take it home and work on it over the weekend. That's going to be your assignment, okay? Question?
What about if we already completed it?
Hey, then you're already ahead and you don't have any homework this weekend. Good, right? Okay, good. Okay. So we're going to backtrack. So I'm going to hand that out this weekend. Now, on Wednesday. Now the next step in the process of understanding what we're doing is for me to see whether or not you remember parts of speech. That's important. But it's more about how we put the language together. Okay, we have to connect ideas. If you have a topic sentence that has a subject, and you have to support it in the next sentence, it's an example, right? We talked a little bit about this on Wednesday, the last Wednesday we met, okay? And I said you need to support your topic sentence with proof or fact or something to support what you're saying, right? And we talked about how Bigfoot was a good example for that. We were having some fun with Bigfoot. Now, the subject of our topic sentence has to carry throughout our paragraph, has to continue throughout our paragraph. One thing that you'll notice about this particular paragraph is that it's about what?
Cockatiel.
Exactly, it's about a type of bird, isn't it? And if you read through the paragraph, let's read the whole thing real quick. Somebody, can I get a volunteer to read this for me? Somebody read this for me? Nobody wants to read this for me?
I'll go.
Oh, Brian, you do a lot of work in the class. You're throwing it out. Come on, you need to help me out here. Somebody needs to read it. Maria, why don't you read for us today? Come on, it's good practice. Just read the whole paragraph to us, okay? In your best reading voice, telling us a story.
In general, cockatiels are friendly.
Cockatiels.
Teals are friendly
Okay, come on
and
now, let's be
sociable.
supportive, please. Are friendly and sociable, good.
They love to ride around on the shoulder of the owners
Good.
as if they were being chauffeured.
Chauffeured, good. Good.
An occasional nip on the ear is the way of showing the chauffeur
Yes.
appreciation for the ride.
I don't know about you guys, but if a bird was clamping onto my ear, I don't know if I'd feel appreciated. I might feel attacked. Let's continue.
Cockatiels like to be included in all family gatherings. The most loving and affectionate cockatiels are those that are hand-fed as chicks. In addition to being affectionate, cockatiels are intelligent and amusing. They are capable of whistling tunes and learning to perform a variety of tricks. Mimicry?
They are mimicry. What's it mean to mimic someone?
To repeat
To repeat.
what they're
What
doing.
they're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what they're saying.
See what they're saying. I'm mimicking you, right? I'm doing that as an example.
In playful interactions are further behaviors that make these birds fascinating. Like most birds, cockatiels love to have their heads scratched behind their long crest feathers. If a family chooses a cockatiel as its pet, the rewards will be well worth the effort to train and care for the bird.
Are these the big parrot ones or the little ones?
I think the cockatiels, aren't they the large birds?
Like Beretta's bird.
Yeah.
We used to watch Beretta.
I don't know that show.
The white bird and he had
Michelin's
the...
got it down. So,
Beretta.
very well done, Maria. Nice reading. Thank you very much. A couple words are challenging. Chauffeuring's a big word. I guess that one's hard. And mimicry is also a hard word that we don't use every day. So that's very good that you were able to sound those out and come up with some definitions based on the context. I'm super impressed. Thank you very much. So, what would we say about our paragraph as a whole? Number one, what's our subject?
Cockatiels.
Cockatiels, right? Cockatiels. But more than that, our entire paragraph kind of has this sort of general sort of attitude about it, doesn't it? It's kind of got like a tone. We call it like a tone, right? Something, a feeling, if you will. Is that feeling negative or positive? Positive. So let's just briefly, really quick, let's try to figure out which words in this paragraph indicate some positivity. Okay, what are the things that are positive? I always like positive stuff. I try to stay away from the negative feelings. So give me some words. Friendly. Sandra, hold on, let's raise our hands.
Yeah, friendly and sociable.
Friendly and sociable. There's some. Go ahead, Ginger.
Intelligent and amusing.
Intelligent and amusing. Good. What about the verb in the second sentence? What do they do?
They love to ride.
They love to ride, right? They love to ride. And then what about let's continue reading through. Brian, you got a word for me? Let's look at positive words.
Appreciation.
Appreciation is a great word that indicates positivity. Good. What about the verb in the sentence after that? Jessica, what do you see? Appreciation, and then there's that verb after that. It says cockatiels what?
Like to be included in family.
Yeah, they like to be included, right? So they have an emotional response that says that they appreciate it, right? And then let's continue. We got more words in there. What about that? Melissa, go ahead.
Affectionate and
Yep, and affectionate. They are, in addition to being affectionate, they can whistle tunes. They learn to perform a variety of tricks.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Playful interaction is positive, right? Playful. And then there's that word love again. Notice the repetition. Some of the terms are repeated. Some of the vocabulary is repeated. That's how we keep our attitude consistent through a paragraph. Utilizing the same positive words throughout the paragraph, okay? So that word love shows up twice. We know that, right? And what's the last sentence say? It says that as its pet, what's the subject of that last sentence?
Rewards.
Rewards, right? Rewards a pretty positive positive word, isn't it? A reward. They're things, they're positive things. Okay, now
Person, place, or thing.
Now notice something about this paragraph. It offers us structures that we're familiar with, right? We notice in this paragraph, sentence by sentence, that we have subjects, verbs, and objects. That we have subjects, verbs, and objects throughout the whole thing. And notice the consistency with which those particular parts of sentences show up. Each sentence has a subject, each sentence has a verb, but more importantly, the meaning of each of those verbs stays consistent. Notice that more than a portion of them, more than half of the verbs in this chosen paragraph are all active verbs, are they not? Right? Look at that. It says, they're friendly and sociable. They love to ride around, right? They nip on the ear as a way of showing affection. Okay, action. They are loving and affectionate if they're hand-fed. We know that that's an action. In addition to being affectionate, they're intelligent and amusing. Okay, they're capable of whistling. We start to see all of these actions that these birds can do, right? We're starting to see a pattern here. Throughout this particular paragraph, we're talking about positive things about cockatiels, but we're talking about the physical responses that they are able to give. Are we not? So when I start thinking about my overall topic sentence in the paragraph, am I showing my reader how these birds are sociable and friendly?
Based off the first sentence.
Right, so if I were to outline this paragraph, I would see that it's not really about the fact that they're friendly and sociable, it's about how they show that friendliness and that sociability. Would you agree? Yes. So then I come back over here and I go, okay, now, with a bird being friendly and sociable, do you feel like this tells me enough about them being friendly and sociable?
Yes.
I mean, I haven't really known a lot of birds that are super friendly and sociable, right? Most are skittish and they run away or they fly away fast, right? They're not going to come up to you and eat out of your hand. Hummingbirds, they'll check you out a little bit and then they'll zip right off, right? Okay? Parrots, they can be a little bit nerve-wracking. They're big birds and they can hurt if they nip at you, right? So these birds, the cockatiels, they get pretty big too. So for them to offer this information is, in my opinion, limited enough and also complete enough to fulfill the obligation of the topic sentence. In general, cockatiels are friendly and sociable. In general. Now, if I think about how this sentence is put together for its meaning, it makes a difference all of a sudden as to which words I choose and their relationship to being a part of speech. Right? Because I have to describe how these animals are a certain way. These animals are friendly and sociable. So what am I doing there when I say that they are something? What's the action or what's happening there? If I look at all these words, is there something here that looks familiar? What am I doing?
Describing it?
Yeah, I'm describing. And what am I describing? Am I describing the bird or am I describing how the birds act?
How the birds act.
So if I'm describing how the birds act, I'm describing their what? Their actions, aren't I? I'm not describing what they are, I'm describing how they're acting. So what am I actually doing? I'm offering which kind of word? What word is that? What part of speech is that describes their actions? Adverbs describe their actions. Now, as I read through this paragraph and I'm thinking about parts of speech, right? I'm going, oh, well, wow, this is describing these birds. Okay, well, I know that there's going to be a description of the bird itself, and I also know that the bird itself is a thing, isn't it? It's a person, place, or thing. It's not a person, it's not a place. But a cockatiel is a
Still be a thing.
And I could reference that in many different ways. I could say cockatiel, I could say bird, I could say it, right? I could say feathered friend. I could say all sorts of different terms that will relate to the part of speech that is a noun. Okay, so now I'm thinking, okay, I got to have a noun in there. And the bird's got to do something to show me that they are sociable and friendly. And the way that they do something, I know is an action, and that's a verb. So all of a sudden I start to put these things together. I got parts of speech, I got these nouns, right? I got adjectives and adverbs, all these descriptive terms, and they all come together to form this one thought that's put together at the top of this paper. This is it, the very top sentence. It gives you an idea of something that's going to happen throughout. So we, being good English speakers and writers, have to go through this paragraph and discover what these words are that connect to each other. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, we do it in practice like we did today, but we also revise that practice and make sure that we know we were correct in our actions. Okay, so let's see where we stand. And what I want you to do is on this piece of paper, this is yours, okay, I want you to put a big star at the top, okay, or however you want to mark it, and I want you to write practice next to it. Because this is your practice, not your assessment. Because I want to see where you are comparatively when I get to put them one next to each other, one next to the other, okay? You ready? All right, so here we go. I'm going to ask you to help me out. I want people to take a sentence. Or maybe half a sentence. I know, I made your brains work today, all right? Here we go. So we got a little bit of time. In general, cockatiels are friendly and sociable. Let's start with the simple part of this. What's our nouns? What are our nouns in this sentence? What are our nouns in this sentence?
Cockatiel.
Cockatiels.
Cockatiel is a noun.
Okay, cockatiel's a noun. Saul, what's the verb in this sentence? Are. Good.
Ooh,
And,
friendly and sociable.
okay,
Friendly and sociable.
specifically, hold on a second, let me grab a pen. How are they? What are the two words?
Friendly, sociable.
Okay, so, friendly and sociable. So what did we decide these words are? Are they describing the bird or describing their actions? Their actions or the bird?
Actions.
The bird action.
The bird actions. So now I've got my adverbs describing how they are, or am I describing the birds?
You're describing how they are.
Describing how they are. So if I'm describing how they are, is it better that they be, is the action that I'm describing as friendly and sociable? Or the actual bird itself?
The bird itself.
The actions of the bird or both? This is tricky.
Well, I think it's the action.
Action of the bird.
Yes.
Do we have a conjunction here?
Yes.
Do we have, now it's connecting these two words. It's not necessarily subordinating, coordinating conjunction the way that we normally use it, but it's still a conjunction. We know that that word is a conjunction. A conjunction is a joiner, isn't it? It adds things, doesn't it? It puts things together. So we're just going to call it a conjunction. And then we have this word right here. What about this word? Is that a prep?
Yes.
Oh, now in general. A general is usually a noun, isn't it?
Yes.
Not in this case though. It's a descriptive term, right? It tells us what? Which question does this answer here, in general?
How cocktails and cocktails are.
Right, so it describes cockatiels in general, or does it, are we talking about they are this way in general?
They are this way in general.
They are this way in general. Okay, so if the action, the being, them being this way, is being described, then what am I talking about up there? Describing an action, telling me time. Am I looking at an adverb?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Does that matter? General?
In general, so my generally speaking would be an example. Or in general, it's a preposition, it's the object of the preposition. Generally speaking, in general. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I started with a tough one. All right. So, we got that. Now let's talk about they. What about they?
Pronoun.
Pronoun. Is that our subject in this sentence? Yes. What do they love to do? Are these all verbs?
Yes. It's a verb. Ride.
Verb
Around.
to ride.
Prepositional phrase though, isn't it?
It is, right? In this case, so we have a preposition, but then ride is a verb, isn't it?
Yes.
So we're just identifying the part of speech. And then where are they riding?
Around.
So,
Adjective.
is it an adjective or an adverb?
Adverb.
Adverb.
Is it? Is it a preposition?
It's.
Is it an adjective?
No, it's not an adjective.
Because it's describing something?
It's telling me where something happens. Do you remember our study of prepositions?
Propositional phrases.
Oh, so it's a place.
If I were to say around the corner, what would you tell me around is?
Prepositional phrase.
That's right. So if we're going to write preposition here, around, not only just around, but also what? On the, what's the?
Article.
Article. What's a shoulder?
Thing.
It's a thing, it's a noun. What about of? What about of?
Prepositional.
Their owners. Is that a possessive pronoun?
Yes.
Pronoun.
And what about owners?
No.
Noun. Whew, as. Oh, there's that. We had one of those, didn't we? We had one of those?
Yes.
As, what do we call that? A conjunction, right?
Conjunction, yes.
What did you put on there?
Owner is a
You put
noun.
what?
There's a pronoun, it's a personal pronoun. PRO, sorry. I should have wrote just PR.
Yeah, yeah.
Noun, and then conjunction,
Pronouns is there.
and then what about if? If is a what?
Preposition.
Ah, good, preposition, and then what? They, pronoun, and then what? What about this? We're being, that's tough. Are those both verbs?
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Verbs.
Remember, we are just identifying the words right now, okay? Chauffeured, what about chauffeured? Is that a verb?
It's an action, you chauffeur.
That's right, to
Action,
chauffeur
it's a
something,
verb.
and it's in the past tense, isn't it?
Yes.
So it's a
ED.
verb.
It's a verb.
Good. Everybody take a deep breath.
Yes.
What's the meaning of it?
What does chauffeured mean?
You're being guided around.
Drive them
as a-
around.
To be chauffeured.
It's hard to describe really, because
You
And
chauffeur.
how many of you-
people don't do it usually these days.
That's true. So, now I know someday that you, my friend, will be the passenger in a limousine. Now, I don't know when that's gonna happen. It could happen tomorrow. I don't know. Okay, these things, they're just like you win the lotto and the next thing you know, you buy a really long Cadillac and you have somebody drive for you. When you get driven around, or even walked around, you're being chauffeured. You're being
With
led somewhere by another individual. You're allowing someone the control of your direction. Okay, the actual physical act of chauffeuring someone means I would sit in the front seat and you would sit in the back seat and we would go somewhere.
Like the taxi cab driver.
Yeah, a taxi cab is a very
Very good chauffeur.
very good. It's more of the
Drive me.
it's not necessarily the expensive version of a limo driver.
Yeah, I searched in the
Same thing.
dictionary, yeah.
It's like a
you get
bus
this,
driver.
Oh.
example.
So let's continue. What about and?
Drive me to school.
And is what?
Article.
No, it's an article. That's all right. And.
And is an article.
And occasional nip. Now, and indicates something, doesn't it? It indicates that the next word is a what? Noun. So an occasional nip, we would call nip a noun, even though it's an action. It's the act of nipping, right?
Nipping on.
That's a little tough, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Act of nipping. I'll be nipping at someone now. And
What is
occasional
nip
nip,
do?
so if it's an occasional nip,
It's an
it's only happened once in a while, and it's describing nip.
adjective.
In this case, we're using it as an adjective. Where's that nip happening?
On the ear.
Right?
that
So we
means
call
noun.
on is a what?
Preposition.
Preposition. And then what comes next?
Article,
Article, good.
and then the noun.
Then the noun ear. Slow down, Turbo. Gotta keep everybody going. Okay, now we have our noun and it's gotta do something. What is it? It's being, it is. Verb, write these down on your papers now. There, it's gonna be a good study guide for you. There, probably see this again on the final.
Pronoun.
There, preposition?
There's preposition?
No,
It's
I
a
heard
pronoun.
preposition, I heard
Pronoun?
preposition's a pronoun,
It's a
that's right.
pronoun.
Calm down. I didn't say it was. I was mimicking you. They're what?
Weigh is a verb.
Is it? Can you weigh somebody?
It's on the way, but
You can weigh someone using weigh as a different spelling. Weigh spelled like this
Yeah.
is to weigh someone,
no.
but this
No.
weigh,
Way.
that's our verb.
No way.
This
That's
is
a
a
verb.
noun.
Oh, that's the noun, okay. I got it mixed up.
Instead of saying way, say the word form to yourself in that sentence. It doesn't take on
What about of in this case?
Is showing a verb?
That
The
a
act of
pronoun?
showing, or is it?
At-
Yeah, it is the act of showing, so we're gonna use it as a noun in this case. Wow, the act of showing, not showing, of showing, the act. Stuff kind of changes it. Remember, the meanings change. What about the?
Article.
Article, good. And then what about chauffeur?
Noun.
What am I showing the chauffeur?
Appreciated,
Mm.
appreciation.
Is their way of showing the chauffeur appreciation?
Saying thank you.
So what is
Adverb, is it
appreciation
an
in this case?
adverb?
Adverb.
Is it?
What do we
Can I
do?
show someone
It's an action of
the appreciation?
verb.
appreciation?
The act of appreciating.
No.
Okay, so
Can
raise
you
your
show
hand. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to raise your hand, tell me what you think it is, and tell me why. Okay, so
Okay,
Ginger, let's
I
give it a
think-
shot.
I'm gonna give it a shot. I would say it's a verb because it's showing appreciation. The chauffeur is showing appreciation. It's an action
Can you
that's
appreciate
doing.
something and show appreciation at the same time?
Yes, you can.
Okay. All right. That's your answer. We're gonna hold on to that one for a second. Put it out there.
I agree,
Maria?
you can show appreciation by a smile,
Yes.
by an action of what you do.
But let's look at this sentence. It says,
What he's
The-
showing.
let's look at-
showing.
let's look at the sentence. What's the subject? A nip on the ear is their way of showing the chauffeur appreciation. What are they showing the chauffeur?
Appreciation.
Appreciation.
Is appreciation a thing in this instance?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
So if it's a thing,
Oh, it's
and it's a
It's a
noun.
noun.
Oh,
It's a noun.
man, look at that.
Okay.
All right.
It's a noun.
So look at, this is a great example, guys. Check it out. Look at this. Oh, I know that made it so hard. I know. Just look at. Look at. If you get stuck, one thing you can always return to is this: subject, verb, object, phrase. These are the basics. All these right here are the basic parts. Okay. That's why we don't go into all the details about all of the, I mean, there are a ton, there are so many parts of speech I could teach you, and I could show you all the different verb tenses and all these crazy things. I want you guys to just get the basic simplicity of a sentence, and that is when we get lost, we have to return to an idea. What is the idea? Simple idea. Simple sentence. Subject, verb, object. One thing does something to another. A noun acts on a noun. Okay? If you start to think in those terms, you can ask yourself, is this a noun first? And then you can cross that off your list if it's not. Does it have a noun? Does it have a noun? That's the one you cross off the list. Let's keep trying. Let's do one more sentence, and then I'm going to let you guys get out of here for the day because you all look a little bit like overwhelmed this Friday. And we'll continue this process as our...
This is good.
This is good, but we'll continue this process on Wednesday. So, now appreciation. Oh, what are we appreciating?
The ride.
Right.
And that means that for is what?
Prepositional.
A preposition. And what is the?
Article.
Article. Now, in some we can ride things
It's a
as
noun.
an action, or we can,
Pronoun.
but we're calling it, wait, hold on, what comes before
The.
the? So that indicates that what's coming?
Noun.
The noun.
The noun.
An article indicates that a noun is coming. You guys remember this, come on.
Yeah, it's gonna introduce, it always introduces
Okay,
the noun before it comes.
This sentence should be pretty good. We can do this one. Okay, you ready? Cockatiels.
Noun.
All together.
Noun.
Cockatiels is what?
Noun.
Noun. There we go. A noun. What are the cockatiels doing?
Like.
Liking. What is that?
Verb.
Verb.
Like. To.
Two.
Can I ask
Yes, Sandra?
I thought that to be is the verb.
Like to be. Verb phrase.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes. Yeah, it can be used as that. But in this case, it's an action, it's liking. They like something, so it's an action. Cocktails like to be, verbs. Are these verbs? This is a prep, but this is a verb, isn't it? Okay, so we have a little, we need to understand, this is what's called, I'm going to give you a new word today, okay? Even though you guys are, and you may not be ready for it, but I'm going to show it to you anyway, all right? I'm going to draw a line here, And I'm going to show you something. This is what's called an infinitive. Okay? Now, what is
Is that like a helping verb?
that? Correct. So this is an infinitive. Infinitive is the basic form of a verb. You've heard this in class before with the word to in front of it. The basic form of a verb with the word to in front of it. Be. To be. Okay, let's go back up here for a second. Where is it? They love. Here we go. To ride. See that? To ride. That's called an infinitive. To ride. Okay? This. To be. That's called an infinitive. An infinitive. It's the basic form of the verb with the word to in front of it. Go down here. And learning to perform. To perform. Infinitive. Good. So that's not a term I asked you to know, but we're learning it now. Because a lot of you guys are asking the question. You're saying, isn't that a verb? And I'm saying, yes, it is a verb, but it has a preposition to introduce it, doesn't it? So here we go. We've got this like is a verb, then we got this preposition, and then we have this other verb. So this little piece right here is what's called an infinitive. Now, to be included. Is included part of the verb phrase? Isn't that part of the verb
Yes.
phrase? Because this is a
Yes.
helping verb.
Yes.
This, yes. So that's a verb also. We got a big verb phrase right here. And then where are they included?
Gather, family
So if
gathering.
they're included in that, then that means this is what? What is that?
Prepositional
A
phrase.
preposition. Good, it's a prepositional phrase. All the family gatherings, all family gatherings. What are gatherings? Gatherings are things, aren't they?
Yes.
What about family?
Describing the gathering.
That's right, so that makes it what?
An adjective.
Good, and then if I'm describing what kind of family it's also what? Is this also an adjective? Yeah, they're adjectives, all family gatherings. 2 adjectives to describe gathering. Okay, now, when you have a test on this and you're asked to tell me the answers about what things are, I'm not going to give you a whole paragraph and say, describe every word. That would be really mean and really hard. Okay? But I am going to ask you to do it separately. I will say, please identify the prepositional phrases in the following sentences. And it'll be a sentence and it'll have a couple in them, and then you'll have to underline the preposition and tell me the object of the preposition. Okay? I'll do that in your final. And you'll have a lot of review and preparation before you take your test. Okay? So don't panic about it. You'll have an opportunity to be successful. I don't want you to fail. I want you guys to do well. All right? So we'll take our time and we'll continue with this process on Wednesday. Okay. I know you guys got started writing the example sentences for your Bigfoot, right? In your journals. You're supposed to do that. Hang on to them because we're going to revisit this example thing. We're going to revisit that on Wednesday. Okay? We're visiting on Wednesday. So hang on to that. We're going to finish that on Wednesday. Yes, if you have these, I will take them. Working outlines. Perfect. Okay. If you have the homework that I assigned, you can hand it in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Every word has some kind of meaning.
I know.
I know I put a lot of it down. I know I didn't put all of it down.
That's okay. You guys will get there, don't worry. Repetition. Thank you. Don't worry.
I checked out a book at the library, but to be creative, I kind of put that out. Yes, lunch too, okay, and that's a commercial.
That's funny.
That's lunch, and then this is Bigfoot Science.
I like it. It's funny.
Should we hold on to the homework then just in case, or? Okay.
Okay.
I'll collect it all.
Okay.
So you want the Bigfoot homework too?
No, just working outline if you did it. It's fine. I asked you guys, you kind of I kind of backtracked a little bit and I asked you guys to redo the controlling idea assignment because what I was realizing is a lot of people really didn't understand that as well as they could have. Like an upstanding young man. Oh, really? That's awesome.
It's like the first one that you did, cell phone. You know how many things you can do just on a cell phone?